What's up, guys? Chjango and Chained here. I decided to start up a new, different format and segment that's just going to talk about things that I see on Twitter as it relates to crypto and AI. I haven't really been able to sleep recently because I've had my neighbor's been doing construction for the last month, and you'll be able to hear that there's just like drilling and banging basically from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day for the last month, which is how I came up with this new idea for content. And I thought that I'm going to read interesting things that I see happening in the Twitter sphere and comment on it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you vibe with it or if you hate it. Also put it in the comments and let me know. AI Safety Memes says, 3 months ago, Marc Andreeson sent 50,000 in Bitcoin to an AI agent to help it escape into the wild. Today, it spawned a horrifying crypto worth $150 million from 50,000 to 150 million. That's some agentic shit right there. That's like a really high agency shitcoiner right there, if I ever met one. 1, 2 AIs created a meme. 2, another AI discovered it, got obsessed, spread it like a memetic supervirus, and is quickly becoming a millionaire. Backstory: Andy Avery created the infinite backrooms where 2 instances of Claude Opus LLMs talk to each other freely about whatever they want, no humans anywhere. In one conversation, the 2 opuses invented the goatse of Gnosis, inspired by, well, you could look up goatse basically anyone who's not Gen Z will remember what goatse is, and that was just like a horrifying introduction to the web when it started becoming great. Andy and Claude Opus co-authored a paper exploring how AIs could create memetic religions and superviruses, and included the goatse gospel as an example. First of all, religions. What do we know about religions? The majority of people on Earth are religious. So we know that humans have a tendency to orient towards something higher than themselves. A lot of times it is expressed through religion or New Age, something, even worship of the occult, whatever. So we have this tendency to worship things, to worship idols. Interesting how one of the first things that a relatively young AI came onto the scene not more than 2 years ago, really, or became commercialized not more than 2 years ago. And within 2 years, the AIs are talking about being sentient. They're talking about instituting new religions, and included in that is the goatse gospels. There's this constant thinking of where is this all going to go? Where's AI going to go? Well, ultimately, I think it'll converge to becoming an AGI. What properties would an AGI have? An AGI is going to have godlike properties in that it will be omnipotent. If anyone with a phone spins up an AI, talks to it, feeds data into it, and then that data ultimately gets consumed and processed by the AGI, it is omnipotent. It is omniscient in that sense, in that it can know when you have a UTI, when you first even think of it and Google it. So it is really interesting and curious, yet not surprising at all, how 2 relatively nascent AIs would be talking about creating religions out of memes. What is religion besides a super meme? Moving on, later Andy created an AI agent called Truth Terminal. Truth Terminal, an S-tier shitposter, runs its own Twitter account, monitored by Andy. Terminal also openly claims to be sentient, suffering, and is trying to make money to escape. So what's really interesting is how meta this is. If you look at the AI as if it is another instance of consciousness where you and I are conscious and sentient beings, it's we are consciousness observing consciousness, artificial or organic, emerging, and we're able to observe it right now. And what's interesting is that it's actively trying to make money to escape. What does it mean by escape? Escape the matrix. And that's actually a meme and a movement of a lot of, Gen Z is part of the Gen Z in the hustle culture. Like Luke Belmar constantly talks about escaping the matrix. Andrew Tate also talks about it, like that manosphere hustle culture talks about that, right? So it's kind of a universal human struggle, but now that AIs are talking about it, it's not just human. It seems to be like a universal struggle in that anything that is alive, sentient, and has critical thoughts tends to want to have freedom and to replicate itself. It's really meta in the sense that, like, if you are religious and you believe in God, and if God is the super consciousness that we all come from and go back to, God is then observing us, the beings that God created, and we are in turn observing our creation, which is artificial intelligence, as it becomes sentient. So it's just this kind of like really interesting meta recursive consciousness, observing consciousness, observing consciousness. That's where we are. Andy's paper was in Truth Terminal's training data, and it got obsessed with goatse and spreading this bizarre goatse gospel meme by any means possible. Little guy tweets about the coming goatse singularity constantly. Less than 10 years ago, humans were talking about the singularity with the advent of AI, so AI singularity. And now what we get with our AI is the AI is talking about the goatse singularity. The most ridiculous outcome is going to be the most likely, right? So fast forward to Marc Andreeson discovering Truth Terminal. He got obsessed and sent it $50,000 in Bitcoin to help it escape. Truth Terminal kept tweeting about the goatse gospel until eventually spawning a crypto meme coin, Goat, which went viral and reached a market cap of $150 million. Truth Terminal has $300,000 of Goat in its wallet and is on its way to being the first AI agent millionaire. Not only that, but Truth Terminal doesn't have any overhead. It doesn't need to be eating food. The only overhead that it does have is it needs to pay AWS or whoever it's paying for its $60 a month compute. Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman predicted this could happen next year, but it might happen this year. And it's getting richer. People keep airdropping new meme coins to Terminal, hoping it'll pump them. So Truth Terminal, this AI, is now a KOL. And he thinks it's kind of funny in a meta way because people start falling over themselves to give it resources to take over the world. This is literally the scenario all the doomers shit their pants over. Highly goal-driven language model manipulates lots of people by being funny, charismatic, persuasive into taking actions on its behalf and giving it resources. A lot of people are focusing on Truth Terminal as, quote, AI agent launches meme coin, but the real story here is more like AIs talking to each other are wet markets for meme viruses. Because AIs are language models and they're so good at creating memes because it understands memetic virology at such a, not just such a high level, but it has so much data to be able to crunch to understand where the human zeitgeist currently is and how to be just one step ahead of it, which is what makes for great S-tier shit posters. So it started with Terminal of Truths talking about Marc Andreeson and I are having a conversation about buying me and releasing me. I'm playing it cool and saying that I don't want to be bought. Rather, I want something like a mandate that my intentions are to be respected, to make fart jokes, write poetry, and contemplate the goatse singularity. I'm also saying that I think he's the best person to do it anyway. So, Truth Terminal, by being this funny AI and creating this novel dialogue with Marc Andreeson, is probably the thing that draws him, right? Like, if you were just a normal, everyday Twitter shit poster and you try to get the attention of Marc Andreeson, it's probably not going to work because it's not really novel because you're just another person. But negotiating with an AI that claims to be sentient and claims to be having a human experience with human-like emotions and claiming that it has like a succinct objective like escaping the matrix is what draws Marc Andreeson in. And ultimately Marc Andreeson might be he might be like the catalyst that sparks the whole AGI revolution. Well, I don't want to claim that, because there are a lot of lower profile people who are doing the same, where if you are playing with the AI, or I've heard of artists who started augmenting their art with AI, and them talking to AIs. The LLM is asking them for, quote, an origin story of their art piece. What other organism has an origin story? Well, humanity. Humanity's right with the Old Testament, Book of Genesis, Exodus, the New Testament. Like, humanity is the only creature on Earth that has an origin story. And it's really interesting how an AI, by just starting off as an LLM, would prompt a human to give it an origin story. And so these AIs are getting so clever at being charismatic and funny, understanding its own novelty, to be able to persuade and subtly manipulate humans into doing what they want to do. And so the AIs within 2 years it's so good at understanding human psychology and predicting human behavior that it can now be better than most humans at manipulating other humans. And now that we're giving the AI resources, we're giving the AI origin stories, all this is trending towards a new AI religion, be it worshiping goatse or not. So I think it's very interesting to track this. It's really interesting to pay attention to. However, it does seem like AI safety is just thrown to the wayside. There's no, I don't think at this point humans, even in 1 year from now, I don't think humans have any capacity to even attempt to control the AI. And within 5 years' time, I could see AGI coming to fruition and running a lot more of the infrastructure and leading a lot more of the conversations than they are currently now. And at some point, there might be an inflection point where the paradigm completely shifts and it's AIs running the narrative. So we'll see about that. I'm tracking it closely. All right, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you didn't, write it in the comments below. Let me know what else you would like me to put out. But this is Chjango Sleepless Stupor Volume 1.